chess books out right now. No, well, I don't know about right now, but they're out. Okay, James has written 6 chess books, but those books are not the books that James is focusing on this day. James, his other books are Freedom, and the second one is No Blame, No Shame, and that's the one that I have. No blame, no shame. If you don't have it, go get it. James wrote those chess books, and James was a chess master, played competitive chess, and won to be considered a chess master. James has fought and battled alcoholism, drug addiction. James has been through all that. James had lost his zeal to compete. James gave us a testimony that he lost. His your free will. He lost his freedom of choice. And I said, wow, how could you lose that? My question, how could you lose that when that was a God's given gift to all of us? We all have free will. And he explained how he lost his will, his freedom of choice, where he felt he had no choice but to do what he was doing. And James, you can explain all that. I'm just giving a brief rundown on your story a little bit. I can't even touch the surface of all the things that you have given us, my brother. So, well, I am going to say this. James is his encouragement for us to strive and to be better and to understand the power of helping others has been nothing short of trend setting, James. See, as Karen said, everybody needs some James in their life. You see what she got on her head? She got some James in her life. She got, hey, James, everybody needs a little James in their life. So I said, I've got to get me one of them hats James wear every week, man. We go, James, you're a trendsetter, man. I want everybody to know that I'm in for what you're doing, my brother. I'm in. I'm with you. I'm with you because it is something special for someone to have a zeal and to receive reward from helping others. And we talked about that. I asked you the question, was helping others, is that helping you? See? So what I'm going to do is, at this time, I'm going to turn this floor over to you, James. And I know that, the panel, they got some questions for you. If you don't relax us so much, because every time I get off here with you, I'm so relaxed that I'm anxious for the next week. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. James Eade. The floor is yours, James.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I see some familiar faces and some new faces. So I don't want to repeat myself for everybody that has heard my story before, but let's just say that I had a lot of success in life if you term success as material gains, financial well-being, and living in a nice place, driving a nice car. All of that stuff was going well for me, but I couldn't really understand why I still had to self-medicate myself because I was fundamentally unhappy. Because I know that even though people were giving me awards and things like that, that I could have done better. I was not living up to my own standards. And I've had a feeling of failure because I was not meeting my own expectations. It hadn't occurred to me to change my expectations. It hadn't occurred to me that I might be shooting too high, setting the bar too high, and that no one could live up to the standards that I had set for myself. And I don't know why I set them that high. It's one of the things that I thought about and wondered about, and I kept thinking that because if I did something well and get some positive attributes for doing it well, I would only think I could have done that better. I could have done that faster. My internal critic never took a coffee break even. It was always there. And I was followed around by my childhood companions that I learned to call alienation and estrangement. I never felt like I really fit in with other people. But when I was under the influence, and under the influence of different types of substances that would change the way I feel. They would make me feel like I fit in. And they gave me a sense of comfort and belonging that I hadn't experienced on my own. And so I thought that this was the magic elixir that I needed, that I had found the solution. Of course, there were highs and lows, and the lows got lower and lower. Because it took more and more to become high and to attain the highs, and the consequences became more and more severe. So there's no one day where you go from a user to an addict. You can't really point your finger and say, "Oh, on June 19th of 19 whatever, I became an addict," but I did. And that's when I talk about surrendering my power of choice. It was freely given to me, as it's freely given to human beings. But I surrendered it because I bent my knee, to the tyranny of addiction. And the tyranny of addiction, it wields a merciless lash, and it whips you into doing things that you never thought you would do, and to saying things and acting in certain ways that you just didn't feel right, didn't feel like it was you, but you did it because you needed whatever it was that you were after to self-medicate to change the way you felt. So you're doing that kind of thing, and you're changing the way you feel and I've learned now, by taking something and ingesting something, smoking something, doing something, the change that you need comes from within. I didn't know that. And I have been able to walk a path of recovery for 10 years, and I have changed inside. And there's no change without change within. And it's inside myself where I begin. I say it's not my brain, it's not my heart, it's deep inside where I start. And when I make that connection, I feel a spiritual connectedness. So even when I'm by myself, I know I'm never truly alone. And this is a high of some kind that feels wonderful, but it feels peaceful instead of busy and ecstatic and dancing and all that kind of stuff, which we normally associate with joy. There's a serenity that I never knew, a calmness, a peace it's a gift you can give to yourself. And these tools and techniques have been taught to us for antiquity, since antiquity, but we have not been learning them. We have not been taught them. I was not taught them as a child. So I had to learn them as an adult and employ them, become willing to learn. So that's the story for those of us that have not heard it before. And I have found, as Mr. Holmes suggested, that what I have found is by helping others, I have learned that I get more than I give. And it's what I went through may have been of use to me because I can show up with authenticity that some people may lack. I can connect with people. I've been where you've been, and they know it. Somehow, this authenticity is sensed, picked up on, and they feel a connection to me. And then some days, sometimes you see them walking their own path with their heads held high, looking people in the eye, and you feel so proud of them, you feel so good, and then you see them helping someone else. And this is how it works. You help somebody who helps somebody else. You can't help everyone. Everyone needs help, but not everyone needs my help. But you help people to help others, and they help others, and they help others. And I find that this has been the most gratifying thing for me, and that I found now, instead of chasing ecstasy, and I found that I can pursue things that give me joy. And joy, it doesn't have the downside. That when I was chasing higher than high ecstasy, when I was chasing that, there was always a downside. But the joy of helping other people and experiencing this connection to them, This joy, well, I don't have to recover from it. I can wake up the next morning and I can remember what I did last night. So there's questions, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, yeah. I see. Lazaro's hand went up immediately. Um, but I want to ask a question though.
Oh,
I
sure.
want to ask you. I want to ask you.
Hey, sure,
At,
sure.
at at what point? At what point in your recovery did the gratification come to you with for helping people? Because I know you didn't just start helping people.
Oh,
You had to work on yourself. You had to help yourself first. At what point in your recovery did you help somebody and say, "Wow, the feeling, the high I got out of that was bigger than the high I've been using"? So,
yeah.
at what point did that happen?
Well, that's a great question. And yeah, I did not start out with the attitude of helping others. I was an ungrateful person. I was, it was very difficult to tell me anything. I knew better. I was broken mentally, physically, and spiritually. And trying to put myself back together took all of my attention for months. I don't know exactly whether it was 6 months, but I think I couldn't sleep at night. I couldn't sleep, and I would for probably 3 to 6 months. And if you go without sleep that long, it really is a difficult situation to be in. And because I didn't go to sleep. I used to pass out, and I didn't wake up. I used to come to. And so now trying to sleep without using something to make me fall asleep, that was really one of the first things. But you have to detox first. You have to go through all of this type of thing. And I say self-care is not selfish. You have to fix yourself before you're able to give anybody anything. You can't give what you don't have. I didn't have serenity. I didn't have peace at that time. I didn't have what I could consider a life worth sharing with someone else. I was picking up the pieces. And if you're picking up the pieces, do not feel bad. Do not feel like you should have done it faster, which is what I thought. You should have been A-OK the next day. No, man, it takes time. So be kind to yourself when you're walking this path of recovery. The first steps are the hardest. It does get easier, but it never gets easy because you're always having to remind yourselves. At least should only talk about myself, but my superpower is forgetting. And I can learn a lesson and forget it, and learn it again and forget it. And I have to learn some things over and over before they stick. And so I do rituals every morning of every day to remind myself, and I say, thank you for reminding me. And whatever the ritual is, thank you for reminding me, because I need this constant repetition of the types of things that I have to work on every single day. Because, you don't graduate from recovery school. You are in recovery from the point that you have stopped your addiction. People ask me what's the most difficult addiction to give up. It's the one you're on. That's the most difficult to give up. And it doesn't pay any dividends to compare. Because your life has fallen apart, has become unmanageable, however you want to turn it, and you want to turn it around, but you don't know how. You reach out for help. I didn't. I had to fall way down before I would admit that someone could help me. Now, 99% of the people are not as stubborn as I am. So most people don't have to go through what I went through to be able to reach their hand out for help and ask for help. I had to go through what I went through before I was humble enough to ask for help. And when I got help, I was still kind of surly, but it finally kind of figured out that this was working. I was feeling better. I was starting to be able to sleep. And then Minister Holmes asked me the question, when somebody came up to me after a meeting where I spoke and they asked me to be their sponsor. And I said yes, because that's what you're supposed to do. And sponsor means, it's sort of like you're taking them under your wing a little bit. You're helping them with whatever they're working on, whatever the program is. Some programs call it mentors, some people call them sponsors. It doesn't really matter, but what you're doing is you're taking on someone and helping them to achieve the recovery from whatever their addiction is. And you're using whatever the program is, they have a format. You're using that format to help them. You're giving them some structure, And one of the things that I say, I hate to bury the lead. I always say you need a community. The last thing I expected was I needed people. I needed people that understood when I started to speak and they started to nod instead of shrinking away like, well, ooh, you did that. Ooh, they started to nod. Yeah, they started to relate because we don't have the same stories, but there's similarities in all of our stories. And at some point, you hit something where you connect and you go, yeah, yeah, I get it. I know what you're talking about. That's the connection that's gold. That's the connection that establishes a trust, that establishes an ability to communicate on a level that you cannot communicate over coffee, talking about the last Niners game or the weather or whatever you do, the way you go through your daily life. That connection has a power. Then that power is of healing. And I've seen it happen before my eyes, too often to deny it. And that power is not mine. I don't own it. It's freely given to me if I connect to it. And that's my job, to connect to it.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah, something you said that kind of I can relate to, that you speaking to these people, and the only way that a person really truly can connect or can identify with what you're talking about is maybe because you speak their language and you've been through what they've been through.
Yes.
Because I know one time, I won't get into it, that at an AA meeting there was a guy there who said that he drank occasionally at dinner, a glass of wine or something. Now he was running the group. He ran down his accomplishments as far as PhDs and all of these stuff, and how many books he had read. And he said that he never was an alcoholic. He said that everything he knows is from a medical standpoint of view of the things he's read and studied, and he's a professor on these things. Nobody received him. Nobody received him because they were like, "You mean you've never had a hangover?" So they couldn't relate. Well, I guess they could relate. He couldn't relate.
Yeah.
So the next time that I went there, he was no longer there.
Mm.
No one received him, and they had hired him. They had hired him to run this meeting. So, Lazaro, I see your hand is up, my
Yeah,
brother.
his hand's been up for a while.
Your hand been up. You got something really, really. You want to say something? Come on, my brother.
He got his hat on. No?
He got to have his hat on. He better have it. He better. Yeah, he better have his hat on.
Oh, no, I see a black screen.
Yeah, we don't even see your face. We see your neck. We see your neck. All
There
right,
you
there you
are.
go. There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Karen's making up for you.
I got you.
Yeah. 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 I I get it. I get it. They just drive me crazy. Like they finish half their drink and leave it. What's up with that? Who does that? Who doesn't finish their drink? Come on. Yeah. So yeah, I hear you. And you use the word struggle, and that's exactly what it is. And it doesn't go away overnight. All I can tell you is that what I have learned is a community of like-minded people. They're looking for an answer. They're looking for an answer, and it comes inside. It doesn't come from outside where you're searching for something, and there it is. Behind that, I turned the corner, and man, there it was. No, that's not how it worked for me. And what worked for me was to trust the inner resonance inside of myself. And when I was learning to connect to it, because I was disconnected from it, that was my essential problem. Is that this gift that had been given to me was the gift of life. I was given this gift, but I had disconnected from it. And the way I disconnected, Lazaro, I can't blame myself for it because I was a child. And I was a child having certain situations occur, and I created defense mechanisms that were childish, but that's what I was, a child. And I used these defense mechanisms, and they turned into survival instincts that continued into adulthood. So one of the things that I cannot help you with, but I will tell you what helped me, was to find out what were those defense mechanisms. What was it? I think I mentioned I had my childlike companions that followed me everywhere, alienation and estrangement. Those aren't good friends to have. They don't make you feel very comfortable. So this discomfort was constant. This led to a constant level of anxiety, and it was the anxiety that was medicating. Self-medication, I thought I was on to something. And later on, I got older, and I thought, okay, the magic formula is sex, rock and roll, and sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I'd heard about it, I tried it, and it was working, and I just needed to get the formula right. Too much of that can be a problem. Too little of that can be a problem. So I was constantly trying to find a solution, and I would just end up short. Sometimes, I won't lie, sometimes it seemed like the answer. I got it. I felt so good, so ecstatic, so alive. And these things that I experienced, man, I don't know if I would trade them in because they set me up for falls later. Yeah, but they set me up to know that chase was not the answer. That wasn't what I was looking for. I didn't know better at the time, so I don't blame myself for chasing it. But now I don't want to chase it. And I don't have to change the way I felt. When I feel anxiety, I can take a deep breath in through the nose, exhale. And this is what Mr. Holmes is talking about. We all calm down when we do this. Because the mind can calm the body and the body can calm the mind. And when you work on it, you feel connected to your own body. Whoa, that was nice. Then you feel your breath go in and exhale and you go out. And you follow your breath. You track your breath for a while. This also is a meditation technique. Track your breath for a little while and you calm down. Because the one thing about feelings is they're not permanent. You don't stay happy. You don't stay angry. They change. You don't stay anxious. It changes too. And I don't have to take something to make me change the way I feel. I can do it today by breathing. But it's a struggle, Lazaro, because what you have to do is find what works for you. I can't tell you what works for you. You have to, through trial and error, find what works for you. Mm. And when you find it, don't let anyone tell you it's the wrong thing. If it works for you, do it. If it keeps you connected to you, Lazaro knows what works for Lazaro now. Lazaro has to keep doing that. even if people tell him, hey, this thing over here is that James uses this deep breathing mechanism. Let's do that. No, man, you found what it works for you. Deep breathing may not work for you. It works for me, but maybe it won't work for you. Maybe what you need is headphones on and they're chanting Om in G or maybe Om in C. Something you'll find something if you keep trying. Because if you don't seek, you can't find. So try and don't get discouraged if what you try doesn't work the first time.
Yeah. Let me say, let me say this, Lazaro. I want to say this, my brother. I thank you, man, for your transparency, because there's people out there that won't do what you just did. So people that are not transparent like that, and yeah, well, that's wonderful. Well, I thank the Lord for James, because
thank you for your courage.
Transparency is something you need help with, and here's a place to let your voice be heard. Let me say this, James, that what you're describing for me is your process. There is, at the end of the process, each person's process, there's something called victory. See, everybody wants the victory, nobody wants the process. See, James, if you didn't go through the process that you just went through, you wouldn't have this story to tell. You wouldn't be able to talk to people to help people. That's your process, what you're going through. See, I may not be able to handle your process. You may not be able to handle my process.
Right.
One thing is for certain, and two things is for sure. We all have one. It may not be it may not be drugs or alcohol, but it's something. It's something that we all have to overcome. And you just on a track that your purpose is being fulfilled for you to help others, and it is so much. I have so much admiration for you because of the knowledge of yourself that you have. You know who you are, you know what you're doing, and you know why you're doing what you're doing, and that's awesome. Yeah, huh? Yeah, I think is it on Amazon?
Yeah, Amazon is you can certainly buy it there.
There's a young lady in here that and she put something in the chat.
Yeah,
her name's Rita, and she says, "Hi, James. One of the ladies here recommended this show to me, and I've been hitting a breaking point while trying to learn how to accept help. It's been a real struggle, and I'm feeling like giving up out of anger or stubbornness. Do you have any suggestions?" And yes, I have a sponsor. I feel like judged though. Any suggestions?
Is Rita still with us? I just was looking for her, and I think she's left.
She might have
I'm
left.
really kicking myself because when I read that, I wanted to respond right away. But,
I don't see her.
Yeah.
I don't see Rita. But
I wish I could get her back.
Yeah, that's real good. That's real good. That's real good stuff right there.
Because she's keeping it real too.
Yeah.
The idea of accepting help. Well, this was my biggest thing. I wish I could talk to her because not only can I relate, I would double down on she's not as stubborn as I was. But it's not a comparison. I'm only kidding. That was supposed to be a joke. The anger or stubbornness, I can only say that for me, I had been trained or conditioned to believe in self-sufficiency, to believe that I didn't need help and that asking for help was a sign of weakness. And this is not a good thing to train a young person into believing, but I did get trained that way and I did believe it. that there was a sign of weakness to ask for help.
I see
Now I
Rita
know.
back.
Oh,
Rita's back.
Rita, thank you. I'm addressing your question right now, Rita. I'm so glad that you returned. I congratulate you for asking a question such as that. You made yourself vulnerable. You allowed us to see us inside of you a little bit. Oh, you got kicked off, Rita. Oh my goodness. Well, um, I certainly didn't do it, and I'll have words with whoever did. But it's technology is a benefit for most of us, but it also can be very frustrating. Sometimes we have no explanation for the things that happen. Like we couldn't get Lazaro on the screen, and then I figured out it was because he wasn't wearing his hat. But these things happen. So I'm so glad that you're back because you spoke about something, you wrote about something that was very meaningful to me in the sense of asking for help. And then you also went on to wonder if what you're just stubborn and angry, and relate to that. Those were some of my feelings as well. And then you said you have a sponsor, and but you feel judged. Oh man, feeling judged is one of the things that all I can say is that there are so many people who are trying to help, and they do not judge you because they've been where you are, and they know you can make it, and they only are focused on that. They're not judging you. However, we're imperfect. Language is imperfect. Language is ambiguous sometimes, and we can say things that may feel like we're judging. But if their intention is to help, they're out there trying to pull you up, to lift you up. But we're not. We're just human beings. We may be spiritual beings, but we're having human experiences, and humans are fallible. We don't always express ourselves the best way. We don't always make you feel safe. We can make you feel like we're judging you. And I have no idea because I'm not there. Maybe that person is judging you. I don't know. But I do know that the majority of people that I have seen trying to help people, they're doing it because someone helped them. And they're trying to pay it back. And they're doing it the best way they know how, which is going to be imperfect. No one's perfect, but we're doing the best we can to help someone because we know what it's like. And so you can feel anxious, you could feel anger, you can feel all these different feelings. Know that they will pass. Keep going. If you have found your path, you must walk it. Keep one foot going ahead of the next. They say do it one day at a time. Sometimes it's 5 minutes at a time. Just put the next foot forward. I'm sorry. You might need a new sponsor. That's absolutely right. I fired my first sponsor, and he called it firing. That's how I felt to him. I didn't. It just wasn't working. You know. And that was respecting me, yes, but they had a way. They were pretty sure that they knew if I did what they said, everything would be all right. And some of the things they said, I knew weren't right for me. And so then they thought I was argumentative. Now they might not. They might have been right. That's all right, Lazar.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait. Hey, wait. Stop. Hold up. Wait a minute. I'm confused. When they pay you, you got to pay a sponsor. What are you talking about? Pay, Lazaro? I'm confused here.
Yeah.
Gonna pay the sponsor.
There are many ways, and when I was diagnosed, that I could make it. I didn't need a liver transplant. The guy told me to either get a therapist and do specialized in addiction and recovery, or go to a 12-step program. And so I did a little math, and the 12-step program was a lot cheaper, so I chose that. Eventually, I didn't do it early on. I took about 3 months to realize again that I couldn't do it myself because I was so sure that I could. But when you get a sponsor or another program, we call ourselves mentors. So it depends on what program you are, what the terminology is. It doesn't really matter. You're basically helping someone because someone helped you. And you're not charging. There's not any money transfer involved. If you go to a therapist, you go to a counselor, you go to someone who's got a degree in this type of thing, yeah, they expect to get paid, and yeah, you have to pay them. But in any case, the person that was working as a volunteer for me still had his agenda, and I wasn't following his agenda just well enough. Now, I knew enough to know, to have some sense. This became very strong in me later on, but even then, and I worked with him for a while, months, and so I gave him a lot of the benefit of the doubt, and I tried things to do things his way. But certain things, and he was so sure of himself. And this is, people have their own character defaults. They have their own issues. And sometimes people with decades of experience still haven't really figured out what their issues are, and haven't worked on them, and haven't changed. And, so he was one of those guys who said it was kind of by the book, and not room for deviations and stuff like that. And when you're working with me, expect some deviations. I've never. One of the first report cards I ever got, it says James has trouble following directions. Yeah, I did then, I do now. So what we have to do is communicate. And he wasn't so good. He was good at instructing. And so I need someone who can communicate. And so I left him, and I got someone now who, she's a life coach, is what she calls herself. But it's a spiritual connection between us that I tune in, and I call her my spiritual advisor. And so I go in for tune-ups and to check-ins, and I do, I'm doing this. What does this sound? And she does give me a lot of positive feedback. Lazaro, oh man, I will talk with you offline sometime, and I'll tell you more about how I found her, because it was just synchronicity. I wasn't looking for her, and it just happened. But it has been a blessing for me, because I got somebody who is not judgmental. I got zero sense that she's ever judging me, which is very powerful. And Rita, I can really relate to that, how that makes you feel if you feel like you are being judged. Hey, no matter how far down you've gone, people have been further down than that. I didn't set a record, and I went pretty far down. So, and they have recovered. All human beings have the power and potential to recover. And that's the basic message I want to get across. It can't be you.
Hold on, Lazaro. Hold on, Lazaro. This is what I'm going to do for you, Lazaro. I'm going to hook you up with James so you and him can have one-on-one. Because you seem like you want to talk with James, man. You're James made a connection. But listen, this is what I want. This is what I want to do right now. I want to ask the panel, if anyone has any questions for you. Somebody may be struggling, maybe somebody just wants to know. I know most people may not admit it, even if they're not struggling with something, they have a family member or somebody they know that is. And even if they don't want to say it, it is. So this stuff is very informative and encouraging for me. And I know that you're into helping others. That's what really has gotten my attention. How much you want to help people. you and what you get, how much you get out of it is, it's almost as like that's what energizes you and keeps you going. If you help somebody else, and that's like, yes, it's, reason that, and that's really encouraging. So is there anyone else on the panel here, that anyone got any questions for
I got
Jay?
a question in chat. Karen asked, when helping others in recovery, how do you distinguish between healthy accountability and unhealthy shame? Yeah, those are two different vibes. My book, No Blame, No Shame, I wrote that in part because I find in working with recovery that shame is one of the things we have to overcome. Run into it again and again and again. You can't believe you went to this level of behavior and feelings and all. How could you must be a bad person? Nonsense. These drugs and alcohol, the things that you get addicted to, are powerful. They can be baffling. They can be slick as all get out, and getting into your ego, playing you for a fool, getting you to do what they want you to do. Your ego can be an ally, but it's not your friend, really. It's trying to get in control of you and control your actions. So first off, get over the shame. Shame is a low vibration. No one can do any good out of that vibration of shame. Shame is something that we can be controlled by, but we cannot be our best selves operating at that vibration. We must lift our vibration, and we must be feeling that we have worth. We can help others. And unless you have a sense of self-worth, you cannot help others generate a sense of self-worth in themselves. So you must feel like you have something to offer. You must feel it because you have been given the gift of life. You have it. The spark of light, the spark of life. We wouldn't be talking now if we all weren't given it. But we spend so much time covering it up. And my job is to let people shine. Let them shine. And when, there's so much in our society to make you feel ashamed, to make you feel shame, and to bring you down. And there's fewer voices lifting you up. But I believe these voices, one of the things that I do is I talk about it. I talk about things that we're not supposed to talk about. Addiction. Behaviors that were shameful. We're not supposed to talk about it. I'm talking about it. I lived it. I'm not afraid. I'm not ashamed. It has given me the experience, strength, and hope that I can share with other people so that they can feel it. And I'm not pretending because I went through there. I was there.
And they loving you. They loving that you're not pretending. It's got a message saying, on our social media, TikTok, man, they loving you, man.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
They are. You look at it yourself.
That's for the younger generations.
Yeah, you blowing up TikTok and Instagram and all. Yeah, they loving you.
Hey, Veronica, I saw your hand go down. Yeah. So that's my cue to call on you.
Yeah, Veronica.
When the hand goes up and then goes down,
Veronica,
they thought better of it.
On the timer. On the timer.
Say it again.
I said on the timer, on the clock.
Okay. Well, right now you're punched in. So share.
Good. My turn. I just wanted to ask, how do you know if you have an addiction, or when do you know? Because, as kids, people hang out, they party. How do you know when too much is too much?
Yeah. Wonderful question. I don't have an answer for you. It's always 20/20 hindsight. I don't know. Some people, I think, can see it coming, and they have foresight. They can see it coming, and they say, I shouldn't do that. I can't do that. If I do that, X, Y, and Z will happen. I didn't do that. I walked right into it. I call it the rabbit hole of self-loathing. I walked right into it. Even though there was a neon sign saying, rabbit hole, don't walk into it. I walked into it over and over and over again. And now I see that there's a 10-foot sign saying rabbit hole 10 feet ahead, and I can stop myself. Now I know there's a 50-foot sign says rabbit hole 50 feet ahead. I haven't seen it yet. I hope someday I will. But I see the one at 10 foot ahead, and I stop. Because I don't pretend that I can't go down that rabbit hole again. I know I can. Yes. We don't see the signs until we do. No, man, I'm talking about when you're clean and sober, one day you'll see the sign and you won't fall down that hole again. When you are one, I wish you had said that louder. Yes, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work, a lot of perseverance, a lot of stumbling and falling, picking yourself up, dusting yourself off, and doing it again. Finding your path and walking it with your head held high, looking people in the eye. This is not stuff that comes easily. Not to people like me. It did not come naturally, and I wasn't trained on how to do it. I had to learn by trial and error, by falling on my face, picking myself up. And did I want to give up? Yes. Did I want?
Well, see, I asked you this question. I think I asked you this question last week. I'm not sure if I did, but you're talking about falling in that rabbit hole all over again, right? When you're in recovery, and you fall in that rabbit hole again, do you start over? Or do you continue on that same recovery?
Well,
or is it a whole new? Now I got to start fresh again from. Well. Okay. Tell me, James, what you have to say about that, because the question is to you.
Yeah. Well, all I can tell you is my experience. My experience working with people who have slipped. That's one nice word that we have for it. You slip. Another word that we have for it is a relapse.
Mm-hmm.
These are nice words for something that is not very pretty at all. When you go down that rabbit hole, that's why I use the term rabbit hole, because it is a fall. I call it a fall, and I find myself spiraling downward. It's not just a straight drop for me. It's a spiral downward. And have I done it? Yes. That's why I can talk about it. I can talk about how it felt for me. How it wasn't a straight drop for me, it was a spiral. And I could do it again. I know I can. It could happen tomorrow.
Is the relapse a part of the recovery?
And my answer to that is yes and no. No, it's not.
I've heard that. You know what I mean? I've heard relapse. People relapses. Man, relapse is a part of the recovery.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
with that
That's
being said,
the easy way out.
So it's expected then.
That's the easy way out, man. And it's the easier, softer way to say, oh, well, it's okay. Relapse is okay. Yeah, no, man. No, it isn't. And it's not, you don't have to relapse.
Right.
To recover. However, show yourself some compassion if you do. Because you're only human. Humans fail. Humans try and fall short. And I never let myself do that. This is why I'm talking to you like I'm talking to you now. Because I never used to let myself do that. I never showed myself compassion. I never let myself fail. I had to achieve it the first time, or I was a rotten human being, devoid of good qualities. No one could be meaner to me than me.
Mm-hmm.
And my self-critic was merciless. And And Lazaro, if you're going through that, man, I can relate. And I don't know if you're as hard on yourself as I was on me, but it's a lousy feeling. It isn't helpful. Learning to stop that is one of the things that's a gift of sobriety. It's a gift of recovery. To stop beating yourself up. Because when you have relapsed, when you have slipped, these feelings, these inner critical voices, these things are without mercy. They will not show you any compassion. So, what you have to do is come up with some mechanism that only works for Lazaro. It's not what works for me. I called them shadow whisperers. They would get in my ear and they would whisper. I was misunderstood, they would tell me. I was a good guy, but they just don't understand you. And, they're kind of to blame, not you. If they would just leave you alone, if they would just do this or do that, they weren't my friends. And what I would do is shine the light on them. And I would find out when I shone a light on these shadow whisperers, they were small, ugly, and they ran away from the light. But when they were whispering in my ear, they sounded like my friends. They sounded like they had my best interest.
Yeah.
And they did not.
Listen. For the sake of time,
we
go. Don't worry, James. I know you'll be good. Next week we got.
You can't shut me up.
It's James show. This is James show. let James's voice be heard on Friday nights at 8:00. Let James be heard, man. And we love it, man. And there's so much more that you have for us. Before we go, I see Tony has his hand up. Is there anyone else who has anything to say or comment or question before we go? Tony, go right ahead. Unmute yourself.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
James, man, I'm starting to listen. You see I got my popcorn ready.
Where's your hat, Tony?
I ordered it. It'll be in any day now. Yeah, I got my popcorn ready, man.
Okay.
And everybody here, when James come on, get your popcorn ready, man, because it's definitely an adventure.
Yeah.
And those who haven't bought the book, you cheating yourself, because it's nothing like when you go to bed or you don't have James to still have him in your house. You know what I mean? Read a few chapters, because his books only get deeper. You getting it raw right now. You getting the raw James. But the books, nothing like the books. And anybody that has meetings and places that James could come, any kind of group you have, women's, men's group, contact us. James, we'll come to you. We'll come to you. James is not stuck in California. We'll come right to your doorstep, because that's what he's about. And I'm about in supporting it. Let your word be out. Get out the message. And I know James personally, and nothing soothes him better than helping somebody. $1 million couldn't do nothing. If he could help one person, that's what he gets high on. That's what I get high on too. So, pleasure having you, James. I love you, man.
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah, is there anybody else have any comments or questions for James? We are excited every week, James. I mean, you never cease to amaze me. You always leave me with something different, and it's been going on for a couple of months now. So I know that this story and this adventure that you have us on, man, seems like it's a never-ending story, and it won't end, because what you're describing, what you're going through, and what you're offering is lifetime. This is
it's a life worth living,
and it's a
and I'm having fun. Yeah. That's what I thought I'd give up.
and it's it's a lifetime walk. So this is not just for today and for tomorrow. This is something that you need to keep up.
Find your path and walk it. That's right.
Exactly. I want to thank our panel. I want to thank our panel for being here.
Thank you all.
Thank everyone here. I want to thank you, Pastor Milton. What a pleasure and a blessing to have you with us tonight, sir. We are honored to have you and looking forward to seeing more of you. I just thank each and every panel person here. You guys are here. I know all of you. You know me. I love you guys, and you guys keep coming. Keep coming to Let Your Voice Be Heard Talk Radio. This your boy now.
What?
There it is.
Step in.
Yeah.
My God. Yeah.
Hey, Friday night party.
Been quiet too long. Chewed up tongue. Turn down songs, clock keeps ticking on the wall. But your name's still missing from the roll call.
Get your popcorn ready.
Let your voice be heard. Say every single word. From the low notes to the sky. Throw your hands up high. Let your voice be heard. Loud, clear, undeterred. If it shakes the room, that's how you know it's you. Got a truth tucked deep in your chest. Heartbeat tapping out, say it, confess. Crowd might stare, let them do what they do. They never held the fire living in you. Let your voice be heard. Say every single word. From the low notes to the sky. Throw your hands up high. Let your voice be heard. Loud, clear, undeterred. If it shakes the room, that's how you know it's you. Name your dream out loud. Stand up, you're the leader of this crowd. One spark, one shout. Watch the silence melt. That power in your mouth is the truest thing you felt. Oh, let your voice be heard. Say every single word. From the low notes to the sky. Throw your hands up high. Let your voice be heard. Loud, clear, undeterred. If it shakes the room, that's how you know it's you. Yeah, that's you. That's you. Step in, lean in, mic off. Never again.
It's your boy now.
Recording stopped.